so all of the trig functions that we've done so far have been off of 90-degree angles, a right triangle. So today's when we change that, and there are two different, we're gonna do law of sines today, and then tomorrow we'll do law of cosines, and that's what you can use when there's no 90-degree triangle. While you're getting your notes started, so you'll know where we are and all that stuff, this Friday we'll do a trig test. Always looking at me like I've got 3 heads. I know
So
you'd be
this is the
excited.
one where it's not a right triangle?
Correct, correct.
Like an equilateral or I saw some leaves.
Yeah, I'll just call it an acute, cause I don't know how long the sides are. Once you get that one done, I got one on the next page that talks about, formulas for areas. Did you notice on your triangle drawing that your capital letter angle is opposite its smaller case side? Alright,
Me and Damien finally figured out the county names.
alright, and didn't you just so accomplish what we finally did?
I didn't understand it, but kinda sorta.
For the other color.
Yeah. Alright, so this is for how to find the area of our triangle. You know, your normal geometry formula is 1/2 the base times height, but on these things here, we don't know the height necessarily, so we can use sine to find area.
Oh, it's the same thing. That's-
Do we need to draw that triangle again?
No, you got it there close enough to use it. Alright, so let's first off see if we can use the, come on, law of sines. So I'm gonna give us, let me get it set up here. I'm gonna give us, remember from your old geometry days, that's how you label a triangle. So we're gonna, the directions say to solve triangle ABC. So when you're told to solve a triangle, that means you gotta find everything that's not given. So you gotta find all the side links that aren't given, and you gotta find all the angles that aren't given. Okay, so I'm gonna give us some stuff to start us, and then we're gonna solve the rest of the triangle. So we know here that angle C is 107 degrees. We know that angle B, almost said side, is 25 degrees. And we know that side B is 15 degrees. Okay? What?
B is
15.
Five?
15, not degrees, sorry, I got carried away with my degrees. Okay, now, not necessary for you to draw a triangle, but I'm more of a visual person, so I'm gonna draw one real quick, just basically like the one I drew on the opening page for us. okay, it's not necessarily drawn to scale, cause I don't see a big obtuse angle there. But we'll say that this one up here looks like my biggest one, doesn't it? So I'll say that that one is my 107, which means that this would be side C. Okay, I'll say this is B, that's my 25-degree angle, so that means this would be side B, that's 15. So we know angle A. So let's find angle A first. I think that's the easiest thing to find first, because a triangle has to add up to what in degrees?
180.
180. So we've already got 107 and 25. So we got 132. We take that
180.
away from 180. 10 minus 2 is 8. 7 minus 3 is 4. So angle A, our first answer we found on our own, is 48 degrees. Okay, so we got angle A. So now the things we're still missing are side A and side C. So it's up to you to decide which of those pieces of the law of sines you want to use. Let me go back to maybe that'll help me explain how to pick. Okay, you're gonna not use all three. I just showed you all three here, so you could say sine of A over A equals sine of B over B, that would be fine. You just need to set one equal to another, but you need to choose one that you know everything of, so you know the sine of it, or you know the angle of it, and you know the side, and then you need to choose one that you're trying to solve for. Does that make sense? A little bit better than I was mumbling. So,
You could do 25 over 15. Do you do angle over side or side over
either one, but they're both on that. Okay, so Tyler's cued in on B, because we know angle B and we know side B, right? So which way do you want to set that up, Tyler, with the sine on top or the side on top?
do 15 over 25.
Okay, so 15 over sine of 25 equals, okay, which one are we you want to try to find side A first or side C first? C. Okay, so C over sine of 107. Okay, now I've told you a gazillion and a half times that the easiest way to solve when you have a fraction equals a fraction is to cross multiply. This would not be that case. Okay, I'm trying to solve for C. I would say it's being divided by the sine of 107, so I'm just going to multiply by the sine of 107, and I'm going to make this be a calculator problem. Okay, so we would have, whoops, come on, page, jump back up there. C's being divided by sine of 107, so we're going to say sine of 107 times, my marker went away. Where'd my marker go? There it is. Times the 15 that was already up there, still over sine of 25, and whatever that is going to equal C. Okay, so make sure you're in degree mode. Remember, you got to be in degree mode. I would do it in steps on my calculator because I'm afraid I'll mess it up. So I would do sine of 107, enter, times 15, enter, divided by sine of 25, enter. So,
33.9.
yeah, 33.9, so about 34. Now that is a side length, right? That was a side length. So let me go back up and look at my triangle so we'll know what we found. So this side is 34. Already found that angle there is 48. So we got three angles, we got two sides, we're just missing side A now. Okay, so I could look right here where Tyler picked the B stuff. I could use that again and just change the right side. Okay, so I'm going to say 15 over the sine of 25 equal to, we're trying to find side A over the sine of, what was angle A?
48.
48. So we're trying to solve for side A. It's being divided by sine of 48, so I'm gonna multiply by sine of 48. I'm gonna write it a little bit different this time, because this is how this book writes it. I don't wanna confuse you. It says 15 times the sine of 48. They put the 15 first, over the sine of 25. Okay, so again, that just turns it into a calculator problem. Tyler's the only one practicing it, he's the only one that'll be able to do it on the test.
$26.4.
Okay, we went whole number on the other one, so let's go whole number on this one. 26.4 or about 26 is correct. So, we were given an angle, two angles and a side. And then we found the third angle on the other two sides. So we've solved that entire triangle. Let me scroll back down, some of y'all are still writing back, oops. I'll scroll down to the other side, I don't like that. There we go. So it wasn't very hard, because the calculator's gonna do all your sign work on that math, but you gotta know how to set it up. So you've got that in your notes, ready to roll with it. Let's try another one. Well, I'll give you what we know first. We're gonna solve triangle ABC. We know that A is 115 degrees. We know that side A is 20, and we know side B is 11. So on the last one, I gave you two angles and a side. This time I gave you one angle and two sides. Again, not necessary to draw the triangle, but it helps me, so try to draw a more obtuse one this time since I messed that up last time. Alright, so I can see I got my angle A down here at the obtuse one. So that means that that is side A. Okay, this looks like my shortest side just by looking, so I'll make that be B11, so this would be angle B. So here's side C, angle C and side C. Okay, so we know we're gonna have to use our A info, because that's the only two that we have all of. On the last problem, since I gave you two angles, we could go ahead and find that third, but we can't here.
You can do tangent. Oh,
We're losing signs.
We could do that if it was a right triangle. But we don't have a right triangle, that's why we're learning a new way today. Alright, so we know everything for A.
well, B, 11.
Say what now? I really didn't hear you.
Wouldn't B be like 11 over 20, or the side of it would be?
No, because this isn't a right triangle. Those things that you're wanting to use for right triangles only.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Alright, so on the last one that we did we set, we put, my personal preference here is I would do the sine of the angle on top, because we're trying to solve for, we've got less of that. So I would say sine of 115 over 20 equals sine of, okay, you wanna find B or C first?
B.
Sine of B over 11. Okay, because 11 was opposite of B, right? So now we're trying to solve for B. First thing I would notice is it's been divided by 11. So I'm going to undo that by multiplying by 11. So I'm going to say 11 times the sine of 115 over 20 is equal to the sine of B. And that whole left side there, I'm going to do that in my calculator like we did in the last ones, but this time there's going to be another step after it. So I'm gonna hit 11 times sine of 115, enter, divided by 20, enter, and that's gonna get me sine of B is approximately,
0.5.
yeah, it was an ugly 0.498, so we'll go with about 0.5 that Tyler got. Now, this is where this connects to something else. On the previous problems, we were done when we got here because it just said B equals, but now this says sine B equals. What new button did we learn we had to use when there was a theta or a variable next to the trig function?
The,
Sign maybe.
yeah.
The
sign of
inverse, very good. So we're gonna hit second sine of 0.5. And that's gonna get us angle B is about
30.
pretty close to 30 degrees. Go up here and put 30 degrees in that. Now, if you wanted to, you could go ahead and find angle C just by doing subtraction again, because you've got two of the angles and a triangle has to add up to 180. So, you got 145 minus 180, is that 35?
Attention, senior high football will still meet today at the field house at 2:20. Again, senior high football will meet today at the field house like normal at 2:20.
Are we not going to?
The
I'm
yearbook
guessing 'cause of the
thing is
yearbook
it's
assembly.
6 periods, so a lot of people will try to probably say they don't have to go down there. Alright, side C is all we're missing now. So I would do like we started here, I would keep this stuff that we found. But then I'm missing side C, so I would put, let me scroll down here, sine of 115 over 20. And we know angle C, it was what?
35.
35, so sine of 35 over C. Okay, this is not a friendly looking thing here. This might be a time when I wanna flip it. Because remember on the first page on those notes you wrote down, you could put either one on top, couldn't you? It's a lot easier to solve for a variable that's on top. So let me just rewrite both of these real quick. Have 20 over the sine of 115 equals C over the sine of 35. Now we're the same place we've been every time. My variable's being divided by the sine of 35, so I'm gonna multiply by the sine of 35. So I'm gonna have 20 times the sine of 35 over the sine of 115. Whatever that gets me will be my side C.
Alright. 13. 12.6.
Yep, so almost to 13. Very good, very good. Alright, let's see if we can practice using the area formula. They got what we need there? Good in the hood? Alright. I am not gonna draw you the entire picture, I'll explain to you what it is after I get my triangle out of it drawn. That's all we need for the area is the triangle. ABC. 223 miles.
A big old triangle.
125 miles. And angle A is 54.
Is that 175?
Yeah. 2 degrees. 125. Okay, so the picture that I'm copying this off of, it's actually got the whole state of Florida, and then this triangle is drawn down there in the handle on Florida. It says, black-necked stilts are birds that live throughout Florida and surrounding areas, but breed mostly in that triangular region there in the state. Find the area of that region. Alright, so we know side B is 125 miles, right? We know side C is 223 miles, right? So our area here, and I'm gonna write out the word area instead of just A, since we've got an A up there. Our area is equal to, I got side B and C, so I'm gonna use that formula, right? You wrote down 3 of them. Side B times side C. What did I forget? I need to put in front of that.
1/2.
1/2. I'm trying to fix that up since I forgot it. And then what's the last part that I'm gonna need?
Sine of A.
Very good, sine of 54.2. Boy, I didn't plan my spacing very well on that. I'm gonna come write it all in again so people in the video can read it.
And then we can just plug that in.
And then that's all, just calculator, yep. Still ran into it.
$11,304.
That was miles, and area is always square. So that area where those weird birds are breeding is 11,304 square miles. So, pretty big chunk of the state of Florida, I would say. Alright, so law of cosines tomorrow is similar, but there's some different stuff. It involves some squares and square roots, but it still is another tool that you can use when it is not a right triangle. So we'll do that tomorrow. Then Wednesday, I'll send you your study guide, and Thursday we'll go over what we need, and Friday we'll take tests.